This evening, first, breaking barriers in renewable energy. Women from Linden are stepping into technical roles in Ghana's growing solar sector as a national program trains female technicians to install, maintain, and troubleshoot solar systems, reshaping who powers the country's energy future. Plus, a leadership vacuum dragging on. 4 months after election, Region 10 remains without a regional chairman, raising concerns about stalled decision-making, weakened oversight, and a regional budget prepared without elected input. Also, raising the standards at Ghana's gateway. Cheddi Jagan International Airport teams up with global aviation experts to modernize operations, cut delays, and transform the passenger experience as Guyana positions itself as a regional hub. Meanwhile, wildlife tourism takes center stage. The Hyde Park Zoological and Tropical Garden prepares for its long-awaited commissioning on World Wildlife Day, aiming to set a new benchmark for conservation-driven, sustainable tourism. And abroad, Ecuador signals a looming trade clash, announcing a 30% tariff on Colombian goods amid tensions over border security and drug trafficking. Those stories and more coming up. Stay with us. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for January 22nd, 2026. I'm Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, as Ghana expands its renewable energy drive, women are being trained to take on technical roles in the country's emerging solar energy industry. The initiative forms part of the Guyana utility-scale solar photovoltaic program implemented by Ghana Power and Light Incorporated. It aims to build local skills while promoting gender inclusion in traditionally male-dominated fields. Several women from Linden have completed training in solar panel installation, maintenance, and troubleshooting, along with life skills coaching. Participants say the program has opened doors to new career opportunities and challenged perceptions about women in technical professions. GPL Program Coordinator Amir Dilawar said the initiative addresses a national gap in female participation in technical fields.
One of the purposes of this specific activity is there's a very clear gap. While, in Linden, the numbers might be the other way around. As you said, there are more young men trained than young women in the technical fields. That lends to a very clear gap nationally where young women are not entering into the technical fields. And there's a very clear, what we call disparity between male and female employment in this sector. The purpose of that specific program is to try to address that gap.
Dilawar confirmed that 9 women from Linden were trained under the first phase of the program. Although delays in the Linden solar farm project prevented apprentices from working directly on site, trainees gained hands-on experience by working with local utility companies in Linden.
Really great initiative, considering the fact that there's not a lot of skills for women to learn in Guyana. So considering the fact that they're doing this for women, it's totally amazing.
It has given us an opportunity to work in the electrical field, more specifically the renewable energy field, where it's more male-dominated. So we as women are now getting our opportunity to participate inside of the renewable energy sector, and that's feel great.
For me, it has been an exciting journey. I've never worked in a technical field before, so this was an amazing opportunity, and it was not as hard as I thought it would be. We had great trainers, and it was executed well. Guyana is on its way to grow in that area in renewable energy. I think it would be great for the people. It's a great opportunity work-wise. Guyana is giving out paid apprenticeship training right now, and I think a lot of young people should get on board with what it's doing because this is going to be something very big in the future.
The apprenticeship is expected to conclude in February. Dilawar also announced that applications are open for a second batch of women from Linden, which will coincide with active construction on the solar project. Discussions are ongoing with contractors, and the Linden Electricity Company Incorporated has expressed interest in employing some of the trained women. Applicants must apply online and submit academic credentials, including passes in mathematics, English, and a science subject. In other news, 4 months after the 2025 general and regional elections, the Upper Demerara Upper Berbice Regional Democratic Council remains without an elected chairman, creating, stakeholders say, a growing governance vacuum in Region 10. Regional Executive Officer Dwight John has said no decision has yet been made on when the council will reconvene to elect a chairman. Jones said councillors will be informed when the time is ready. At September 1st elections, We Invest in Nationhood, led by Azruddin Mohammed, secured the highest number of votes in the region. 18 councillors were sworn in during October, 9, including 9 from WIN, 4 from PPP, and 5 from APNU. However, the RDC election for chairman ended in a 9-9 tie between WIN and APNU nominees, leading to the suspension of the process. Although the matter was reportedly referred to the Minister of Local Government, Priya Manikchan, to break the tie, the minister has since stated she has no role in selecting a regional chairman and that the council must follow lawful procedure. WIN councillors have continued to call for the RDC to reconvene. Councillor Leola Narain said Region 10 is the only region without a chairman, arguing that the RDC's inability to function violates constitutional rights. Concerns have intensified ahead of the 2026 national budget, as the regional budget was submitted without the input of elected councillors. WIN councillor says the absence of an elected chairman has stalled statutory committees and weakened oversight, accountability, and decision-making within the RDC. WIN has warned that the prolonged impasse threatens transparency and effective governance in the region. Moving on, investigations continue into the death of wanted man Jamal Bourne, also known as Skinny, as police confirmed they have uncovered suspected human remains, firearm, ammunition, and other items during a major operation in Linden. The operation was carried out on Wednesday at 3 Mile Wizrock Housing Scheme, Wismar. It involved crime scene investigators from the Criminal Investigation Department, supported by K9 Unit, acting on information linked to a video circulating on social media. During the search, police examined a burnt area where they discovered suspected burnt human remains, including ashes and bones. The remains were secured and will be submitted for forensic examination by a government pathologist to determine their identity and the cause of death. Further searches at a nearby wooden structure led to the discovery of a suspected pistol, 3 shotgun cartridges, a suspected spent 9mm shell, knives, clothing, and other items. Police also recovered 3 toy rifles from nearby vegetation. All items found during the operation were taken into police custody as exhibits to support the ongoing investigation. Police confirmed that 6 persons previously arrested in connection with the matter remains in custody and are assisting investigators. The Guyana Police Force said investigations are ongoing and further updates will be provided as more information becomes available. Stick around when we return. CJIA partners with the International Air Transport Association and the Ministry of Natural Resources cracks down on illegal mining in the Northwest District.
Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Good girl, forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
GCOM will be conducting a claims and objections exercise commencing January 5, 2026 to produce an official list of electors, OLE, if you will be 18 years or older by December 31, 2025, and you're a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more, you are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM will be posting the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for for you to check if you are listed, and if so, whether your particulars are accurate. You can make a claim for registration, change or correction to your particulars, or you can object to the inclusion of anyone who you believe should not be on the list. If you are desirous of making a claim or objection, you must visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to do so. Visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to conduct any of the above transactions. All GCOM registration offices will open Mondays to Fridays from 8 to 18 hours, Saturdays and Sundays from 10 to 14 hours. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. The Ministry of Natural Resources has intensified efforts to combat illegal mining in Guyana, seizing more than 50 pieces of mining equipment and related materials from unlicensed operations in the Northwest District. The enforcement exercises, conducted in partnership with the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, targeted several sites within the Eclipse Falls Northwest area. Authorities confiscated mining engines, generators, water pumps, hoses, and gold detection equipment, all used in violation of Guyana's mining laws. The items have been detained at the mines station pending further action. The ministry emphasized that illegal mining poses serious threats to the environment, public safety, and the economy. These operations form part of a broader, sustained effort to enforce the Mining Act and safeguard the country's natural resources. The Ministry of Natural Resources reiterated its commitment to transparency and accountability, stating that all breaches uncovered during the enforcement will be made public. Miners and operators are urged to ensure their activities are fully licensed and compliant with national regulations. The crackdown is part of the government's ongoing strategy to protect Guyana's natural resources for present and future generations, with similar operations expected to continue nationwide. On a different note, as Guyana positions itself as a regional aviation hub, the country's main international airport is taking decisive steps to upgrade how passengers move through its gates. The Cheddi Jagan International Airport has begun strategic engagements with the International Air Transport Association to improve airport operations and raise passengers' service standards to international levels. The technical team from the International Air Transport Association on Wednesday met with Minister of Public Utilities and Aviation, Indar, and senior CJIA officials to identify areas for cooperation focused on efficiency, service delivery, and operational modernization. Minister Indar said the initiative supports President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali's One Guyana vision, stressing that quality service and efficiency must be central to Guyana's aviation development. As part of the visit, the International Air Transport Association facilitated a specialized workshop for airport personnel, sharing global best practices and passenger-focused service standards. Discussions also explored introducing digital solutions to streamline workflows, shorten processing time, and reduce passengers' delay. CJIA Chief Executive Officer Ramesh Gir said the airport is committed to working closely with IATA and airline partners to transform the passenger journey and deliver a seamless travel experience. IATA's area manager for the Caribbean, Annalie Lord, described the engagement as timely, noting that IATA is expanding technical support across the region to help airport meet rising international expectations. The engagement also included a tour of the airport facilities and participation from senior aviation officials and consultants as CJIA continues its push toward modern, efficient, and passenger-centered operations. In other news, the Hyde Park Zoological and Tropical Garden at Land of Canaan, East Bank Demerara, is poised to become a flagship attraction when it is officially commissioned on March 3rd in observance of World Wildlife Day. The announcement follows a preliminary assessment on Monday by Minister of Tourism, Industry and Commerce, Susan Rodriguez, and Director of the Guyana Tourism Authority, Kumro Baksh, signaling the facility's growing national importance within Guyana's expanding tourism sector. Hyde Park operates to international standards, allowing for responsible animal exchanges and conservation-driven breeding programs focused on protecting endangered species, and supporting their long-term survival and reintroduction into the wild. During the visit, Minister Rodriguez reaffirmed the government's support for the project, noting that a dedicated product development team will work alongside Hyde Park's management to further enhance the visitors' experience. Director of the Zoological and Tropical Garden, Sasha Lau, said preparations are in their final stages ahead of the planned opening. While March 3rd remains the target date, she noted that a brief delay is possible depending on the arrival of some foreign species expected to be introduced. Lal also highlighted that Hyde Park aligns with Ghana's low-carbon development strategy, focusing on forest preservation, non-deforesting activities, replanting, and environmentally responsible practices designed to blend expensive free-roaming habitat with world-class animal care. Hyde Park aims to set a new benchmark in wildlife tourism, offering visitors a chance to experience wildlife thriving in protected natural environments while positioning Ghana as a leader in sustainable tourism. Don't go away after the break. ICE immigration raids devastate small businesses in Minneapolis, and Nigeria kidnapping residents fear for their safety.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Common smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown, telephone 226-1082.
GCOM will be conducting a claims and objections exercise commencing January 5, 2026 to produce an official list of electors, OLE, if you will be 18 years or older by December 31, 2025 and you're a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent or naturalization, or a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. You are eligible for inclusion in the OLE. GCOM will be posting the preliminary list of electors, PLE, in all of the registration divisions across Guyana for you to check whether the particulars are accurate. You can object to anyone who you believe does not qualify for inclusion in the OLE. To do so, you must be listed in the same divisional list as the person you are objecting to. You must visit the GCOM registration office responsible for your area of residence to make an objection. It is an offense to make false objections. The objections aspect of this exercise will end on Thursday, January 22, 2026. For more information, contact the GCOM on 225-0278-9 or visit www.gcom.org.gy.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world.
Good evening, I'm Dominic Gittins. Tonight, reports say President Trump is seeking Cuban insiders to challenge Havana's leadership. Ecuador announces steep new tariffs on Colombia. Nigerians fear attacks after a mass church abduction. And U.S. immigration raids hit small businesses in Minneapolis. We begin with Cuba. The Wall Street Journal reports that President Donald Trump is seeking Cuban government insiders willing to cooperate with Washington to remove Havana's communist leadership. U.S. officials say no concrete plan exists, but warn that Venezuela's recent U.S. intervention serves as a blueprint and deterrent. Trump has publicly urged Cuba to make a deal, while analysts say President Miguel Diaz-Canel's government remains resilient despite mounting pressure. Ecuador president says he will impose a 30% tariff on Colombian goods from February. Daniel Noboa cites a growing trade deficit and what he calls Colombia's failure to curb drug trafficking along their shared border. Al Jazeera's Alessandro Rampietti reports.
Talking about autonomy.
During a trip to the World Economic Forum in Davos, Ecuador's President Daniel Noboa took a page from Donald Trump's playbook, announcing unprecedented tariffs on neighboring Colombia. He accuses Bogotá of failing to contain cocaine trafficking and illegal mining along their shared border.
The result.
In a social media post, he said a 30% tariff on all Colombian goods would take effect on February 1st, a measure he says will remain in place until there is a real commitment to jointly fight organized crime. In Quito, Ecuador's interior minister defended the move.
They are not taking the right measures to prevent the cultivation, processing, and shipment of drugs.
Colombia's response was swift but cautious. Energy Minister Edwin Palma called the tariffs economic aggression, saying Bogotá would suspend some cooperation, including private electricity exports, while it reviews the decision and its legal basis. While Colombia's defense ministry insists security cooperation continues, pointing to recent joint drug seizures along the border. Since taking office, Noboa has made fighting organized crime the centerpiece of his presidency. He has declared repeated states of emergency and deployed more than 10,000 soldiers to Ecuador's most violent provinces, where homicide rates have surged, but results so far have been limited.
And we're at war. We're at war against narco-terrorism. If you add up the amount of fighters, say from the three largest, they're not gangs anymore, they are transnational narco-terrorist groups.
Noboa has expressed affinity for U.S. President Donald Trump, backing Washington's tougher security line in the region, including the military action in Venezuela that ended with the capture of Nicolás Maduro.
Colombia is very sick.
Trump has also accused Colombia's President Gustavo Petro of not doing enough to stop drug trafficking, even floating the possibility of military action.
Relations between Colombia and the US had recently eased after the two leaders spoke on the phone. But Ecuador's latest move risks to reignite tensions just days before Petro is due in Washington to meet with President Trump for the first time on February 3rd. Alessandro Ampietti, Al Jazeera, Bogotá.
Members of a community in northwestern Nigeria say they fear for their safety days after their village was attacked. Gunmen abducted more than 170 people while they were attending church on Sunday. Officials say they are working to rescue those held captive. Al Jazeera Ahmed Idris reports.
Emotions are still raw here. 72 hours after the mass abduction. Jumai Idris is inconsolable. More than 30 members of our extended family are held captive.
I can't stop thinking about them, whether they'll come back alive or not. I hope they will.
The presence of the police isn't enough to reassure people. Locals say they are here not to secure the village, but to compile the names of victims they initially denied existed. So tension in the village remains high.
Locals say bandits rode through this village late Tuesday, just hours after we left. The absence of state institutions like the police and the courts leaves villages like this at the mercy of armed criminal gangs in Nigeria.
The government says a rescue operation is already underway.
We have responsibility as a government to protect their lives and their properties. And that's the reason why, beyond making effort to rescue those that have been abducted by these bandits, we are also going forward to ensure that we establish permanent protection for them.
A piece of news that should reassure our suffering community. Yet Jumai Idris and many other residents are packing up to leave.
Anyone thinking about remaining in this village needs to reconsider. No one in this village can sleep safely in their bed.
Village elders say 21 people earlier kidnapped by the bandits, as they are known here, were returned to them last week after ransom was paid. 2 days later, a quarter of the village was taken. Although officials promised improved security, people here say there are no guarantees that the armed gangs won't return. Ahmed Idris, Al Jazeera, Kurminwali, Nigeria.
Small businesses in the U.S. city of Minneapolis say their revenue have taken a hit because of immigration raids. The crackdown has created a climate of fear and emptied many shops. Al Jazeera's John Hendren reports.
Federal immigration agents were looking for 2 sex offenders, but the targets were not inside, so they arrested this man, Chong Li Tao.
Do not talk to them!
Dragged out in the snow in his underwear and a blanket. An American citizen not wanted by police, later released without charges. The siege of Minneapolis by 3,000 federal agents has the city's community of Southeast Asian Hmong refugees on edge and staying home, fearing arrest by immigration and customs enforcement agents. This mall is now a merchandise morgue. The average shop here has gone from daily sales of $1,000 to $50 today. The Hmong are twice victimized, persecuted in Laos by the Vietnamese for helping the U.S. during the Vietnam War, and now hunted by ICE, even though more than 8 in 10 are American citizens.
The ICE raids have disrupted business all across Minneapolis. The Freehouse restaurant usually runs this large menu, but they're now running a limited selection because many employees are too afraid to come to work.
Minnesota is also home to a large Somali American community, targeted by ICE and President Donald Trump, who had this to say about Somalis.
We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
And what kind of food do you serve?
I'm selling Somali food, rice, goat meat, lamb.
The only person in this cafe is an angry owner, upset because nearly all the Somali shops in this mall are now empty. Shop owners and customers hiding from ICE.
So right now I'm kind of worried about how I'm going to pay the rent. I don't know how I'm going to pay. So our president, he make this mess.
At the end of the day, we're going to come together as a one force, one Minnesota, because Minnesota is great already.
The Somali American small business owners gathered here at Carmel Mall plan to join in a general strike on Friday. Demonstrators have declared it a day of protest against the occupation of Minnesota's largest city by immigration agents sent by the White House. John Hendren, Al Jazeera, Minneapolis.
Thanks, Dominique. This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day forecast. And that's it, TV2 Headline News for this Thursday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourselves and each other.